I don't want to survive, I want to live. Welcome to Primary Technology, the show about the tech news that matters. Lots of rumors this week. Mark Gurman saying that iOS 27 is going to bring a Siri Chatbot to Apple's devices. And is Apple making an AI pin? OpenAI hardware might also be coming this year. YouTube had a bunch of announcements, including creators being able to make AI likeness shorts of themselves. Netflix might be getting vertical video, and TCL is taking over for Sony TV production. This episode is brought to you by Antigravity A1 and Copilot Money, and all of you, the members who support us directly. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Robles, and joining me, snowed in, is my friend Jason Aten. How's it going, Jason?
It's just very, very, very cold, Stephen.
Very cold.
Actually, I realize I'm very disoriented because we're like flipped from what we normally are on
I'll
Riverside.
flip it. You want me to flip it?
No, I don't really care. I just realized it was like, okay. It didn't do anything to me.
It didn't flip yours?
No, that's okay. This is the worst podcast ever. I just realized, why am I disoriented? And I know why. It's because usually I only have the window for Riverside showing enough so I can see you. And then I have a different window. And I'm like, I can just see myself. I don't want to do that. Anyway, we're good. Sorry. Move on with the real show now.
Let's move on with the real show. I forgot to ask you the movie quote last week. If you're new to the show, welcome. We start every episode with a movie quote because I really enjoy movies. Last week, the quote was, when your enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them. And it was related to something we talked about last week. I forget. I don't know if it was an AI thing.
I don't know what it was related to, but it's from Moneyball.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly right.
I did know that last week, and I was waiting for you to ask me, and then you never did. And then you're like, I'm going to ask you again, and I'm like, I don't even remember what the quote was.
No, that was it. So all right, you nailed that one. Let's see if you can go 2 for 2. This one is apropos because of your latest episode of Creative Effort. But today's quote is, I don't want to survive, I want to live.
Okay.
That was a hint.
So it's going to be a Pixar movie.
That's correct.
It's not Finding Nemo.
No, while Jason thinks about it, you should go listen to Creative Effort, Jason's podcast. He interviewed Ed Catmull, co-founder of Pixar, and I listened to the whole episode. I have to say, Jason, you did get some good Steve Jobs stories out of Ed Catmull. That was really fun.
I've only done 3 of these so far. Well, I've actually recorded more than that, but I've only released 3 of them. I would say, no offense to our good friend Nate, because I actually really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, it was really good.
However, what was really exciting for me about this is I felt like we were able to unpack some things that people wouldn't have already known about Pixar. It was very cool.
Yes. And, hearing the names like Pete Docter and how it was a really good episode. I don't want to spoil it.
Well, and sorry, the best part about it was he didn't say some of the names. He'd just like assume everyone. I'm like, oh yeah, Pete Docter. He did Inside Out.
Exactly.
Andrew Stanton. No, he's the guy that did Toy Story. Like he just would throw these names out, and I'm like, hey, listeners, here's who he's talking about. Brad Bird did The Incredibles. Like, it's just funny. So,
right. And I did say when you said you had told me off the side, like he likes talking about how he worked with Steve Jobs the longest.
Yeah.
And I heard him say it in the podcast, and like the voice that he goes into when he says, he's like, I work with Steve Jobs the longest.
Yeah. Well, and I had heard him say that in an interview he had done, I don't know, a couple years ago or something like that. In prep, he said a similar thing, and it was about a similar topic about how Steve Jobs changed his mind and over time how he developed empathy and stuff. So when he heard it, I wasn't surprised, but it was just like, I mean, that is a cool thing to be able to say. Like professionally, he worked with Steve longer than anyone.
And timeline wise, I didn't realize that was possible. And like, so even just hearing it kind of break down, saying like the year that, Pixar started and Ed Catmull was there and he was working with Steve Jobs all the way to like 2000, I think it was that.
Well, and even, so here's the thing. Even after Disney bought Pixar, Steve Jobs was still the largest shareholder of Disney, but they no longer had a board of directors for Pixar anymore, but they did have like an advisory council, and Steve Jobs stayed on that. So he continued to work with them even after Steve Jobs wasn't a public company. It was owned by Disney. So yeah.
Right. All right. So did you guess the movie yet? I don't want to survive. I want to live.
I feel like it's probably one of the, I'm going to consider this one of the more obscure ones, which is WALL-E.
It is WALL-E.
Okay. Well, it's not the fish movie. It's not the, as Ed Catmull calls it, the fish movie, which is what he calls Finding Nemo.
Yeah, he said the fish movie. WALL-E was my son's favorite Pixar movie for a long time. I think might still be.
I mean, the cool thing about it is like there's literally no dialogue for the first 30 minutes of that movie.
It's like a Castaway, but with a robot.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty good. All right, so you nailed both of them. All right, a couple 5-star reviews, which includes an Apple Invites feature that I did not realize. So first of all, Luke Ireland from the United Kingdom, which I think has given us 5 stars before, and he left another review saying he uses Apple Invites, but he gave us 1 star. So Luke, I think he did that by accident. Go back and give us 5 stars.
Please have done it by accident. I don't understand.
But also developer's nickname from the USA. and says, learned about the podcast from Wes, our friend Wes over at the Apple Insider Show. So thanks for listening. And then Bram D. Media, who I met at CES. He's from the Netherlands, and he uses Apple Invites, but for a very interesting feature or use case. There's actually an Apple Invites widget that is with the app. And if you have an event scheduled in the future, it gives you a countdown to that event. And so he uses Apple Invites as a countdown widget. And I was like, wait a minute, I want to test this out. And sure enough, it's actually a nice looking widget. And so I actually had Apple Intelligence generate an image for Shortcuts University as an event, and then made that the widget, and like it looks pretty good. And it says in 11 days. And so if you want a reason to use Apple Invites, if you just want a nice countdown widget, and there's lots of great widgets for countdown specifically. There's like Pretty Progress and lots of other ones. But Apple Invites, you get a free widget for a countdown to an event. That's pretty cool.
Is that not something you could do in like Widgetsmith?
I think you could do it in Widgetsmith too. I mean, there's lots of apps you could do for a countdown, but it's a nice, like, it uses a nice image from the event. And so like this is what the event looks like in Apple Invites, and then whatever background image you create or generate there, that it does it. And that was Image Playground generating that image. So, kudos to that. Speaking of Apple Intelligence and AI, a lot of the quote-unquote news this week is rumors. I'm just going to get that out of the way. A lot of it comes from Gurman. We have some possible OpenAI hardware. And so we're going to get to like news in a little bit, talking about like YouTube and Netflix and things like that. But this is the big news about Apple this week, which is Mark Gurman dropped a piece. And let me just say, he said like breaking news. iOS 27, Siri Chatbot is coming. Doesn't it feel like saying breaking news is a little maybe disingenuous because like it's not actually news, like it's kind of speculation? That's just a pet peeve.
Also, like typically we think of breaking news, hurricane has hit the eastern coast of Florida, right? Like it's a thing that's happening right now.
Like if Apple announces something, you could say like this is breaking news. They just announced something.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it does feel sort of time sensitive.
Right.
But at the same time, he's breaking this story. He got the scoop on this. He got out ahead of it before Apple even could announce it. And so,
I would say like exclusive would be a better word because it is exclusively from Gurman and his sources. You know what I mean? Like exclusive.
Yeah, but an exclusive is typically when someone has given you something. Like Apple has not confirmed this.
Fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough. All right, so breaking news. This thing is going to happen 7 months from now.
Well, there is some news about what's 26.4 as well.
Right.
So he's,
which would talk about.
Go ahead and you can talk about it.
So basically, Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg, which we'll link the actual article. This is the actual Bloomberg article. Apple to revamp Siri as a built-in iPhone Mac chatbot. And so I'm going to also put the 9 to 5 Mac article and some others, and Jason's article, of course, that talks about it. But Mark Gurman is saying in iOS 27 that we will actually get a legitimate chatbot interface for the voice assistant and Apple Intelligence across the devices. Apple has historically poo-pooed the idea of a chatbot. I think Craig Federighi in his interview with Joanna Stern back at DubDub was like, yeah, nobody likes chatbots. It's like Steve Jobs, nobody reads books anymore. And then Apple Books comes out. And so we might actually get that kind of chatbot interface. This is interesting because in our bonus episode, I want to talk about AIs because this past week I've signed up for every AI plan. I'm paying for Claude, Gemini, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Perplexity, and I need you to talk me off which one to drop. But if Apple Intelligence is going to be powered by Gemini, as it has been officially now announced that it's going to be the foundation for the foundation models, foundations all the way down, that the chatbot might actually be good. You might actually be talking to Gemini or a version of Gemini versus Apple Intelligence. So that was the one part of the story, is that iOS 27 is going to bring a chatbot-style interface, and we'll also put Jason's article there about it. And also part of the story was the Apple Pin, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, chatbot. What do you think?
I want to talk about this for a few minutes, mostly because there's actually not that many other things to talk about this week.
It's slow week.
But, okay, so there are actually two parts to this story, which is Apple is seemingly reversing course.
Yes.
And doing a thing that it didn't think anyone wanted. So I actually give Apple credit for being like, yeah, we were wrong. Turns out everyone just likes chatting with chatbots. There's, ChatGPT has several 100 million users or whatever. Like this is what Meta is putting AI chatbots in friggin' everything.
DMs,
It's insane.
wherever.
You go to search for something and it's like that. My favorite email app, Spark. I don't know why. This has to be a bug. I am using the beta because I'm on that, whatever.
You're on the test
But
flight.
I literally, every time I hit the reply button, the AI window assistant opens up. I don't know if that's a bug, but it's like, no. I don't want to talk to you. I want to reply to the person
It's
that
a little aggressive, I feel like.
AI chatbots are everywhere, and Apple finally realized that.
Yes.
So that's the one thing is the news there is like Apple's saying that, well, they're not saying, but Mark Gurman has sources that Apple is going to do this. They are going to turn Siri into a chatbot that you interface with the same way you do Siri now, right? It'll just hopefully be much more useful. Okay. There's a lot of implications to that. Like what happens to the ChatGPT integration, right? Will you still have the options to say, hey, Dingus, send this to ChatGPT? And why would you need to do that if Siri can handle those sort of things? Secondly, though, the other piece of news in here, I think, is just as interesting that Apple intends, like, still before WWDC to release some of the contextually aware Siri features that it announced at WWDC in 2024, right?
Right.
That's what he's
26.
saying.
Yeah, iOS 26.4, which has long been rumored as the Siri's getting better update, is when the Gemini integration might first hit consumers, which could be as early as March. That's usually when the 0.4 release happens. And that could be personal awareness or contextual awareness, things like that. So chatbot would be iOS 27. Better Siri could be as soon as a couple months from now.
Well, and the interesting thing is Gurman doesn't say that has anything to do with Google Gemini necessarily, right? Like, I don't know that they're necessarily going to be using Gemini to do that. I guess my question is for you. Yeah. Did you expect that they were ever going to actually figure this out? Because I'm not sure that I felt like this was what Apple was promising at WWDC was like, this is definitely what we want, right?
Yeah.
And they were trying to figure out a way to do it without just being able to talk to the voice assistant or whatever. But that feels like it's coming a lot sooner than we expected, which means I think it could be coming without the change to Gemini. And then my question is, do we think it's going to be any good?
That last part, hard to predict. I mean, it's pretty low bar right now, and so I have to say it'll be better. I think on an infinite timeline, Apple is going to figure it out eventually.
Yeah, but this is not an infinite timeline. This is 26.4.
Right, and I think, I've been sharing some shortcuts recently that allow you to like search your messages, and it's actually like better than the search in the Messages app because it searches across conversations and like you can anyway. So like the phone has the smarts, for lack of a better word, to like do certain tasks like through shortcuts. Like I do a lot of things like take this screenshot and use Apple Intelligence to make a reminder from it. That's something I can do in shortcuts that the assistant can't do yet. And so I feel like there's very close to doing things like that, like the contextual awareness, meaning like, here's an email that's on screen. Let me ask Apple Intelligence to do something. And like visual intelligence has been getting better at that. If you ever see a date on screen, whether it's a social media post or in a text message, if you take a screenshot and invoke visual intelligence, it does pretty good parsing it. Like it'll make a calendar event. It'll title that event with context from the information that's on screen. So like there's a lot of pieces that exist actually right now if you look at both shortcuts and visual intelligence. And so maybe 26.4 is just going to put some of those pieces together where rather than having to, tap the date in visual intelligence and wait for it to do something, you could just say, make this an event on my calendar. And maybe that doesn't require Gemini. But I think since Apple gave that statement to Jim Cramer at CNBC about Gemini and Google tweeted the statement, I think the 26.4 change will start having Gemini in the background. I don't know if we'll be told that or if Apple will say that like in a newsroom post, but I feel like it's going to start parsing things better then. But to your point too about OpenAI, I'm really curious come iOS 27 this fall. I wonder, I don't think OpenAI is going to be the same integration. Not that it's going to go away maybe, but like that go to the settings pane in your iPhone and literally log into your OpenAI account. I feel like that's not long for this world. I would be surprised if we see that sticking around for long term. What do you think?
Well, okay, a couple thoughts I had. One, we don't know how long they've been working on the Gemini thing.
Right.
I don't think there's any way 26.4 is powered by Gemini. Think about the timeline of how this stuff works. I don't think that they could go from making an announcement and then rolling it out in the next point update where they haven't been able to figure this out. And I don't think that the reason they haven't been able to figure it out is simply because they didn't have a strong enough LLM to do that. Right. I just would be really surprised. I think that they're just finally getting around to the stuff they promised 2 years ago, and it's going to finally work and come out. And then when we see the conversational chatbot, or when we see new features announced at WWDC, that's when we're going to start to see the fruits of this deal with Google. I don't know. But the other question I have is, isn't Siri just a chatbot now? I mean, it's not a good one, but like, you ask it something either by typing or by talking, and it gives you some kind of a response, whether that's it pulls up a sheet with information from the web or from whatever, or starts a timer or whatever. Like, isn't that what it is? Like, what do you think is going to be different about this?
One, it's so bad at parsing your request. Like, so often people joke, like, they'll ask the voice assistant something and it's like, yeah, today's Wednesday. And it's literally not that day or not that, like, it's so bad at some of those just basic requests. There's no conversational history. So there's no context of like, what have you asked Siri in the past and what will and use it as context. Like, I literally built a terrible shortcut called Siri Bot that basically saved your conversation history in Apple Notes. And this way, when you run that shortcut again, it can like refer to your history. Like, it doesn't even do that. And every other chatbot does it. So I think it hopefully will get better at keeping your conversational history as context, get better at parsing your requests. Because even I've found this out the other day and I was shocked and appalled. My wife will just use the voice assistant and ask general knowledge questions to the voice assistant, like Siri. And Siri is giving answers. I'm sorry if we're setting off everybody's home.
Yeah, sorry. You should all just turn off everything that listens right now, except for you.
So the voice assistant will give answers, and they're bad answers. Like I was watching her do it in real time as we were having a conversation. I was like, hey, when you do that, can you do the same thing, but just say using ChatGPT at the end of your request? And just doing that, it then switches the voice assistant to calling on that OpenAI extension, and it provided way better answers. And so, like, even just that one little switch of being powered by a legitimate LLM rather than the voice assistant itself, you get vastly better answers. So I think, will it improve if Gemini's underneath, or if they just start calling, using the LLM? I think so. And I know we just got the announcement that it's going to be powered by Gemini, but I just looked up, and it was August 2025 was the first time that Mark Gurman mentioned the voice system will be powered by Google's LLM. So while the announcement was this month, it looks like the actual, they might have been working on it even before August, because this is just the first time that Gurman mentioned it. So, they might have had 7 or 8 months to be doing this, working on the integration.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to be super pedantic about it. But what he said back then was that they were looking at it, and they were also looking at Anthropic at that time. They had not made a decision. I don't think they made a decision until December at the earliest. Maybe, right? They would have said something before. If they had made this decision, they like released the weirdest statement in the history of technology to make a big deal about this without making a big deal about this. It's like, right? Like they gave a statement to Jim Cramer of CNBC, and then Google posted it on X, and then also on their blog, and then Apple said nothing to anyone else about it. It's very, very weird. I think the part where I'm stuck is Apple had Siri before. It's had Siri for what? I don't know, 10, 12, whatever year,
used
15
to be
years.
Better.
Yes. Not entirely relevant to my point. Maybe it is. But here's the thing. So it existed as a thing at the time that Federighi is going around telling Joanna Stern and Tom's Guide that people don't want chatbots, even though they had a chatbot. So there's sort of an idea that maybe they were thinking of phasing out the interface of talking to Siri for other things. I'm not saying that that's what they were getting at, but what I am trying to say is Siri existed at the time. You could talk to it. It wasn't good. It would respond to you sometimes. Sometimes it would send it to ChatGPT. Gurman seems to be saying that they have changed their mind and that a chatbot interface is what people want, but it will not be a standalone app. So my question is, like, how is that experience for people going to, because I feel like that bar is really high. If Apple is going to do this, what people are used to is you open the ChatGPT app on your phone. Yeah. And you have an interaction with ChatGPT, or you open the Gemini app on your phone, or you open either of those things in an app or a browser on your computer, right? Just long pressing the side button and having a conversation. What is that going to be? I want to know what that's going to be like in a way that feels different enough than the Siri experience we've had all along. Yes, it will be better, hopefully.
Yeah.
But the reason I ask is the whole point of the article I wrote was that I think Apple has realized that the interface matters for the experience that you have, right? The internet browsers define our experience of the web.
Right.
Like that is, we think of the web through the lens of an internet browser, right? We think of our phones through the lens of like the app stores, because the apps that are on our phone is the experience of using the phone. And for now, anyway, the experience of using AI for a billion people is through chatbots. So Apple is sort of acknowledging that that is the interface that defines that experience. Is it going to just be what we've used but better? Or because you talked about history. Where's there going to be chat history? Like, it's not a separate app. You just have to long press and be like, show me all of my history. That's going to suck.
Well, I think in iOS 27 there will be an app.
He says there won't.
He says they're using an app called what's it? Campers.
Internally, correct.
Code, yeah, there's internally, but there's got to be an app because, like, right now. Well, first of all, how's it going to be different? I think there's an obvious, tangible difference if you try to have a conversation with the current voice assistant on iPhone and ChatGPT. And so I think if the Gemini background or improved Apple Intelligence is any closer to a voice conversation like you would have with ChatGPT now, that's a win. And so, like, I think that's the better. Like, it actually feels like a conversation as opposed to talking to like a brick. So I think that's how the experience will improve. It'll look more like the ChatGPT voice conversation. For the app, there's already a bunch of Apple Intelligence apps on the phone. And I think just putting it all in one place is what they could do. So, like, you could open Apple Intelligence, like maybe that's just an app, and you have both the chat interface, you have the image playgrounds features that are also now in that app, kind of like how in the ChatGPT app there's now like an images page, and then you can have your chat history there. I mean, they could just mimic basically like what the ChatGPT app is doing, and maybe even like the visual intelligence, because that is one thing, you know, I can't give Siri a photo and tell it to like do something with it, or like give me instructions on how to change this tire, whereas ChatGPT can. And so those are hopefully the features that, you know, we haven't really seen specific rumors about that, but hopefully we see stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
the part I was getting tripped up on is it says, internally, Apple is testing the chatbot technology as a standalone Siri app similar to the ChatGPT and Gemini options available in the App Store. The company does not plan to offer that to customers. Instead, it's just going to integrate it across its operating system, like Siri today. So, this feels to me like, I don't know, is this just a very Apple way of not doing the thing everyone wants them to do so they can hold on to it? That's what I'm saying, Stephen.
That would stink. That would not be great, because I want a chatbot app. I have one on my homepage. I was using Perplexity for a while, then I switched to ChatGPT, and now I'm on Gemini. We're going to talk about this in the bonus episode. But anyway, I want to read. We didn't read this last week, and so just to be clear, and I'll link it, the biggest part of the news from last week about the Gemini Apple thing was the post from Google on X. And it said, joint statement, Apple and Google have entered into a multi-year collaboration under which the next generation of Apple Foundation models will be based on Google's Gemini models and cloud technology. These models will help power future Apple Intelligence features, including a more personalized Siri coming this year. Now, to your credit, that statement sounds like fall, like iOS 27.
Right.
Later
this year is not necessarily April.
And like the next generation of Apple Foundation models, that feels like an iOS 27 thing, not iOS 26. But anyway, we'll see. I'll remain optimistic for now. I don't know.
Well, and this isn't, I like, okay, because the reason I'm pushing back on you is everything you're saying is what everyone thinks, like, yes, this feels like the logical way that you should do this thing that everybody wants. But it's not clear from Gurman's reporting. And obviously, he has several sources. They're telling this. They probably know what they're talking about for the most part, or at least they know a piece of what they're talking about, right? But it doesn't sound, if you really dig in, it would be very easy to read it through the lens of what we want to have happen and be like, yep, see, it says everything we want. But I don't think that that's what this says. And so I'm just concerned the stuff that we love. I love that I can go back to an old conversation in ChatGPT and just continue it.
I do it all the time.
I can just start typing more things to it, and then I can go to a different one, and I can refer to a conversation. Do you want to know how often I did this when you were sitting there? That I'll say to ChatGPT, I'm like, I took one of my meds on accident. It knows all my meds. It knows everything. It knows all the condition. It knows all the things. It remembers that. If it does the thing I don't like, I can be like, don't do that again. Remember this, right? How are you going to do that if you don't have X, if all you're doing is long pressing the side button?
Right. Well, and I will say, this is a point to where Apple needs I think, needs to have it where you can access your past conversations, because now, while I've been trying different AI apps, like I'm trying to use Gemini more now to see like how it performs, there is a history lock-in that you kind of feel, because I have so many conversations in ChatGPT that I can search for and go back to and continue, that it makes me less, like I desire less to try a different app because it doesn't have my history. And I realized as I was trying to make this transition this week, when you are invested in an ecosystem, just like you would be invested in the Apple ecosystem or the Google or whatever smart home ecosystem, the LLM is kind of becoming an ecosystem where like having that history, contextual awareness for your requests is kind of a big deal. Like that is a useful part of the feature. And so I think that's why even more of a reason, not that they will, but that Apple should make that conversation history, and that should be part of the contextual awareness they've been talking about. Contextual awareness, I think when they talked about it at DubDub 2 years ago, they meant like your emails, your text messages, your calendar events. I think that should include your history with the device or interacting with the assistant. Hopefully that's part of it. I understand like this news and from Gurman doesn't seem to imply that, but that would kind of suck.
Yeah, one more thing, pro tip for you.
Yeah.
But first, I will say what really needs to happen, and this is not going to happen, but what would be amazing is if you could just ask your iPhone, yesterday I was talking to ChatGPT about this thing. I'm curious about, and it would just be able to read that context as well.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Not going to happen. However, pro tip.
Yes.
Because what you just said is true, but do you want to know what I do almost every day? I will copy a prompt and the answer from ChatGPT, dump it all in Gemini, and just ask a new question. And now it has all that history. Like, because the context window for Gemini is like 1 million tokens or something ridiculous. You could literally copy all of your history into one thing.
Can you export your chats?
From literally, you can just copy it. Like I
know, but I'm literally scrolling in the ChatGPT app right now. I mean, I have thousands, I think at least hundreds of conversations.
So this only works one at a time, obviously.
Yeah,
like I'm just saying and here's the reason I do it. I am learning because I'm not nearly as promiscuous when it comes to these AI things as you seem to be.
That's a terrible way to say it, but okay.
And not really, because you just talked about you talked about AI monogamy. So I'm just saying.
Goodness.
I'm just whatever.
Sure.
I'm trying to not be grumpy anymore. I'm trying to bring some levity to this.
Thank
anyway,
you.
But it only works kind of on an individual basis. But what I'm learning is that as these things evolve, there are things that Gemini does much better, and I way prefer to have it handle certain things. But I may have started that conversation weeks ago in ChatGPT, and I'm like, fine, I'm just sorry, ChatGPT, you got booted, and I just take the whole thing and I put it into Gemini. I think for important conversations for sure. All right, well, the other big rumor, I'll say not news, and this was from The Information, is that Apple is working on an AI pin. It will be similar to an AirTag size. It's going to have microphones and cameras and do the thing. Now, I think 9to5Mac had a very salient pull quote from this article, which is to say Apple's development is in the very early stages and could still be canceled. And so that's in the original information report, and I think that is the point to focus on. I think this is an experimentation. I cannot see Apple doing this. And I jokingly said on X, codename AirPods Ultra. Because one of the other rumors earlier this week, I didn't even put an article in it, but like that Apple's going to release an even higher end AirPod above AirPods Pro. And I was like, well, they already have microphones. And I don't think they're going to put a camera in AirPods. But like AirPods would be where you want to put a bunch of AI stuff, where you can have conversations and LLM style stuff. So I don't know. This pin thing feels kind of crazy, but I have my Humane AI pin just in memory of, and so I will don it now as if this was the Apple AI pin. I'll just put it right here. There it is. Oh, it doesn't even stick anymore. Oh, the magnet. I lost it anyway. Man, I thought only I lost magnets.
That's Humane AI pin. There it is. Apple, listen, I'm going to say it right here. I feel pretty confident in this prediction. Apple's not going to make a pin.
Okay, so let me just ask you. First of all, Mac Rumors and all of the sites similar to Mac Rumors, I would just love to see the credit card statement for that company, because it's literally just subscription to the information, subscription to Bloomberg, subscription to... That's literally what these people do. So
Apple
is the information wrong?
No, I think they're experimenting on it. I'm sure. They experimented on a car for a decade. They're not going to release a car. I think the AI pin... Because, again, the rumors are, and one of the news we'll have, I'll just mention here, is that at Davos, which is like the economic forum going on right now that everybody's speaking at, like all world leaders, whatever, that OpenAI's, this is Chris Lahane, the Chief Global Affairs Officer for OpenAI, it says that they're on track to unveil its first device in the second half of this year. So he said that at the Davos concert. So it's like OpenAI's trying to release hardware. They're going to release hardware, or at least announce it. Its success is going to be, I don't know. We'll have to see. But Apple's going to experiment. Like, is this a thing that is worthwhile? Just like they experimented with a car, which I think far too long. Is this worthwhile making for Apple? Yeah, they're experimenting. I think the information's right that they probably got some prototypes in there.
Can we do one more deep dive then on this for a second?
Yeah, please. Look, see, I'm wearing it. If you're not watching it, I'm wearing an Apple hoodie that I got at Apple Park, and I'm now wearing the Humane AI pin. Apple pin. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to ask you for the hoodie back now because they do not want that thing tarnished.
I bought it from their merch store. I bought this my own
They're going
money.
to ask you for it back. They do not want it tarnished with that.
Oh, with the Humane AI pin.
Imran Chaudhry pin, whatever. Anyway,
Yes.
Okay. I still believe that the ideal AI device is your watch because it's a thing you don't mind wearing.
Yes.
The Apple Watch Ultra has a very large screen. Like, you can have a chat conversation with this thing. It would be just fine. The problem is it doesn't run these things on device. So you're limited by being either connected to a phone or connected to Wi-Fi. Fine. And also currently the voice assistant is just bad. It's good for setting timers and reminders. That's like, can we agree that that's basically the only thing it's good for? Setting timers and reminders?
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
Or turning on your lights, maybe. Shouting at it and turning on your lights.
I do use it
is
to open
fine.
my garage. Yeah.
So that...
I do. I use my watch to open my garage all the time.
It was just funny that I was like, turn on your lights, and you're like, absolutely, I use it to open my garage. I'm like, that's not what I said.
Well, I don't use it to turn on the lights often.
Okay.
I use it more for the garage.
But it is reliable for those three things.
Is.
Setting
Yeah.
timers, reminders, and HomeKit
Opening my
stuff.
garage.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Also, it would be amazing if I could just talk to it and be like, what's on my calendar, to make an appointment.
Right.
I just had this conversation, whatever. Send it a voice memo, like do all these. I had this conversation with Pebbles, founder Eric Michikowski. He's talking about like you can just like this ring he has or your watch, you can just talk to it and it'll save those things. Anyway, that to me is the ideal device for AI. If you're not going to just have it on your phone. What do you think of all of the form factors that we have either heard of or seen? Pin, glasses, smartphone, watch, random orb that sits on your desk, pen, ring. What do you think is the best case? Or should we just have them all?
I think, well, first of all, being able to ask it what's on my agenda today. One of my more popular shortcuts was like a morning routine shortcut, which again, the iPhone can literally do in the Shortcuts app, which is get my reminders, get my events, get birthdays from my contacts, get news from these sources, and literally speak it to me from the shortcut, which is something the voice assistant can't do, but Shortcuts can, which is, again, just one of those disconnects of like, it's all there. You just need to, anyway.
I mean, Shortcuts can go to private cloud compute.
That's what I'm saying.
And Siri can't.
That is, yes, good point. I think of all the things, and listen, I have all the AI devices. I have the Rabbit R1 over here. The one useful case that I have found is the Claude AI pin, which you can wear as like a necklace or whatever, and it just records audio when you tap it and then stops when you stop. Now, can you do that with your iPhone with the Voice Memos app? Yes. Can you do that with your Apple Watch? You can record voice memos on your Apple Watch. Yes. One, I think it is a little finicky to get to start those recordings on both of those devices. Like on the Apple Watch, even if you put a complication on there, like it's a tap, you wait a second, then record. On your iPhone, it's a couple steps removed. Like you have to, even in Shortcuts, you can't really like start a voice memo recording in Shortcuts quickly. So actually having a dedicated device that's literally like tap, like that quickly, and it's recording audio, and it can record for hours, and you don't have to think about battery life. You don't have to think about, is it reliable? Like it's just doing it, and you tap it again and stop it, and then you immediately have a summary and bullet points. Like that's like the one use case that I've found worthwhile in the last couple of years that I've literally used the Claude stuff personally, and that could be useful. But could that be built into the Apple Watch? Like, can that feature just be made on your current devices better? Yeah, I think so. I think the other use case would be just that, like constant memory. And like there's been apps like this for the Mac and Microsoft tried to release this on Windows and then it kind of backfired because of security reasons. But there are times when I'm like, I saw this thing. I don't remember if it was a social media post. I don't remember if it was in my community. I don't remember if it was an email. I don't remember what it was. And then searching for that thing becomes very difficult because I could try Spotlight, but that's not going to show me random social media posts. I could try asking ChatGPT or Gemini with web search, but that's not going to have context for my emails and my text messages. And so I don't know how it could be done. But if something was just aware of all the things that I saw in a day, and it's computers, the one thing, well, not one thing, but one thing they're very good at rather than humans is remembering and actually like the exact thing, like that would be really useful to me because I could be like, where did I see that post about the primary tech pin that someone shared? Was it in the community? Was it on social media? Was it an email? And if it could just tell me, like, that would be game changing. But there's a ton of privacy and security concerns that are laden in that. And so I don't know if we're anywhere near that kind of use case. But wouldn't you want that? Just to be able to ask one thing, where did I see this? And it just pulls it right up. Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool to the extent that I don't have to think about what actually has to happen for that to happen,
right?
For that to be a thing.
Complicated.
I don't think that, but I don't think the trade-off is worth it. And also, I don't think that the tech stacks that exist today are anywhere close to being able to actually do that at scale, right? Because just think about the volume of data that would have to be available. And my question is still the same: what's that form factor? Right, the only thing that could probably do that are glasses.
Listen, this stupid thing, the Humane AI pin had a microphone and a camera.
Okay.
And technically could see and hear everything that I was seeing.
And zero battery life and zero memory and no interface to interact with.
I understand that part, but technically it just has to see and hear. It just has to mimic my eyeballs and my ears.
So do you want to wear a pin? That's my point.
If this thing could have provided the functionality that I just described all day with not thinking about battery life, I probably would have wore this all day.
Instead of a pair of like Meta Ray-Bans that could do the same thing?
Sure, if it's glasses, but it's the same problem, like battery life and also ecosystem. Like,
no, I'm just saying what's the right form factor?
Right.
Probably, I think it's the watch. You think it's
the watch,
weird
though,
voodoo thing you got to wear on your chest that people look at and go, what is that?
The audio side, a watch would be great. Because your hand could be in your lap, you could be typing, and it can still hear everything. But it can't see everything.
Yeah, we should not normalize body cams. Let's just be honest.
And I know that that's weird. And, like, I don't want the privacy implication nightmare that would be. But, man, there's so many days where I'm like, shoot, I saw this thing and I can't find it. And if there's something that could relieve that feeling from me, I would make some trade-offs, I feel like.
I mean, what is it the youth say? Skill issue, Stephen. I feel like you just need a better system for remembering things.
Listen, I have all the systems and I save so much stuff, but like as I check 4 different social media accounts all the time. You know, I check X, Ivory, Blue Sky, and Threads. I check 2 communities, the primary tech and my shortcuts community. I have emails. I have text messages. I'm looking at websites. People like, there's just so many sources of things that are so like bifurcated. Like, yeah, I guess I could take a screenshot every time, but then sometimes it's on my phone, and then sometimes I don't know. I like the idea of the constant memory thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. The idea, maybe. I'm not sure I want us to ever get to the point where where we're living in a mutual surveillance state. I don't know if I'm not sure.
I know that there's terrible implications of it, and I don't want a surveillance state.
Stephen just wants to remember more things, and that's great. I
want the computers to remember it for me, is what I'm saying. I know that I'm not going to remember everything. I want the computer, which has a great memory. Like when I've put something onto my Mac or my iPhone, I trust that I can forget it. And when I go back to my reminders list or my Things app, it's going to be there.
Sure.
Like I have 100% trust in that. That's what I want, is that I can trust that, I don't know, all the information that I'm ingesting all day, every day, I can look back, I could just find it.
I think that the right combination would be a watch, your phone, and then potentially a pair of glasses if they actually could do the things that we want them to do, right? If you could have glasses with a small heads-up display that when I look at somebody, it tells me their name because I can't remember people's names, that'd be amazing. Or because then when something I know that what you're describing is like, I don't always know when I see a thing that I'm going to want to remember it later.
Right.
That's right. Okay. I get that. that's just life. We're humans. We're fallible, whatever. But I think that having the ability, like my point is, Apple, we don't need an AirTag with a camera.
No.
Do the glasses thing and do it well.
Or like just to kind of round it out, my iPhone, like a lot of things that I see that I might have forgotten to save, I probably saw it on my phone. I probably saw it on my phone or my Mac. Like those are basically the two places that I'm seeing things. So if the assistant was smart enough to be able to have context for the things I saw, and again, I understand there's a privacy implication. Like, what is it? Constantly screen recording? Is it constantly taking screenshots? I don't have the answer. That's why Apple is paying the big bucks, and they're paying Google the big bucks for their LLM. But like, if I saw it on my phone, I would love to be able to ask the assistant, "Hey, where did I see that picture of this?" Or, "Hey, where was that article about that?" And like, if my Safari history, my social media apps, like whatever, like. It has all the stuff. Like this I saw it on this device, or I saw it on my Mac, and there's like, I'm logged into both. The ecosystem is there. I don't know. I understand it's a very hard problem to solve, but I
just wish that when I open Instagram and then I close Instagram and I open it again, the thing that I saw the one time would still be there. My dad, who is a wonderful human being, sent me. He was asking me a question. He goes, "Listen, I saw this thing on Facebook Marketplace, and I left it there so that I could come back to it later." I was like, "No, that's not going to happen." He's like, "I opened my app.
It's gone.
I opened it again and I can't find it." And he's like, "So I went into the settings. I think I figured out how to make it not do that. I turned off background app refresh." I'm like, "That doesn't do the thing that you wanted to do. I promise. I'm so sorry. That's not going to help you." I said, "You got to take a screenshot of it immediately, or you can save them in like Facebook. You can save stuff like that." But it's the problem
Facebook
is
it's like 5 steps to save something. But
we need. Well, you can bookmark some of those things,
right? I know it's just like
in Marketplace. Yes, it's annoying, but I guess my point is, instead of us worrying about it, we just need to convince these companies to stop trying to just force feed us news. Like if you close the Instagram app and you are on an individual's grid, so you've gone into an account and you go
leave it.
It should stay there. I don't need you to serve me new information.
Leave it. And the best post you will ever see is the one that only shows for a split second on that social media app and then disappears forever, and you will never find it, and you didn't see who posted it, and so it's gone. That's what I want.
I only ever open Instagram with 2 fingers on each side,
ready to
so I can instantly screenshot. Yep.
That's what I should do. Anyway, let's close this out by a joke, because Parker Ortolani's posted this. If there's ever a good use of AI imagery, it's this. This is the Apple Pin launch video leaked. He's tweeted this image. It's an AI-generated image of Tim Cook and Craig Federighi. And with
Craig Federighi, that's like he's been de-aged 20 years.
They both, and it doesn't look exactly like Tim Cook, but they're basically in that white room that the Humane AI Pin did their initial launch video. It's them with the same thing. So anyway, I had a reason to pull out the Humane AI Pin one more time. Listen, there's actual news about YouTube and Samsung, so let's take a quick break and get to more news. This episode is brought to you by Copilot Money. It's still early in the year, and you still have time to get your finances in order. And using an app like Copilot Money makes it that much easier. You know, for a long time, I didn't use kind of third-party apps to manage money, but then you have to go to every different app. You have to go to this app for your credit card, this app for your banking, this app for investments. But when you have it all in one place, it gives you a better snapshot, a better picture of everything going on in your money, in your investments. You can keep an eye on transactions, recurring charges, things like all those little streaming services, and Copilot Money is the way to do it. Their app is beautifully designed both on the iPhone, the iPad, and it also looks great on the web. This way you can track your spending, boost your savings, keep an eye on your investments, all of that in one place. It has clear, easy to understand views of spending. Like I said, you could see all your subscriptions and upcoming recurrings in one place, so you could stay ahead of those renewals, set and track savings goals with clarity, and start the new year, and you still have time, with purpose. It's easy, fast to set up, and it's continuously featured by Apple and Apple Editor's Choice and a Design Awards finalist. Now, you can also get privacy first. They never sell your data. And like I mentioned, there's native apps across all the platforms, iOS, iPad, and Mac, and the web, plus the new experience. I'd love to have a Mac app and the web, so you can do it wherever you would like. I highly recommend. I've been using money tracking apps really just in the last 6 months. Finally got on that board, and it just helps so much. So here's what you do. You go to try.copilot.money/primary, and you're going to get 2 months free when you sign up. Use the promo code primary. That promo code and the link is down in the show notes. You can just click it there, but you get 2 months for free. Try it out. I think you're going to see it is very worth it. So start the new year with clarity, your money beautifully organized. Thanks to Copilot Money for sponsoring this episode, and our friends at Antigravity. The Antigravity A1 is the world's first all-in-one 8K 360-degree drone, and it creates a new category for the drone industry. Jason and I were both at CES earlier this month, and we saw Antigravity in person, and it's incredible. It's FPV, so you get the goggles, you put it on, and while you're flying, it is a fully immersive experience. You can look all around, and the drone is invisible. You don't see the drone, and then as you're recording video footage, you can actually play it back and experience it in that FPV or first-person view mode, so it's totally immersive. Makes aerial shots easy, incredible quality, both photos and video, and you can fly first and frame it later. Because it's capturing 360 degrees of freedom, you can always crop it however you'd like later, adjusting the video footage. You're not going to have to do second flights or wasted battery. You have infinite flexibility. Plus, it has great features like SkyPath, which gives you ultimate control over your flight, so you can automate complex flight routes, set those waypoints, let the drone follow all of it as you go. So here's what you do. You go to the link down in the show notes, and if you get it now, you actually get a free launch pad when you buy the Antigravity A1. Again, that link is down in the show notes. Just click it there. Thanks to Antigravity for sponsoring this episode. All right, we'll call this a lightning round. It's probably not going to be a lightning. Samsung Galaxy S26, which the event should be coming up in March or late February is usually when Galaxy Unpacked event. Looks like the S26 is going to get MagSafe, kind of like the Pixel 10. It's technically Qi 2, but it's the circular magnet, and I don't know, I'm going to be able to make MagSafe videos now for all the phones, for Samsung and Pixel. And maybe there's finally a reason to get the like a Galaxy phone, because I've never used a Galaxy phone ever.
Really?
Never.
I've used a couple.
Like, back in the day, I was on Sprint, which didn't have the iPhone at the time, and I went from like the HTC Hero. And then my wife had an HTC Android phone, and we had a couple like that. But yeah, I never had a Galaxy phone, even when it was like a literal iPhone knockoff. Back then. I'm not saying it is now, but
no, I mean it still is. Absolutely.
I didn't say it. That was Jason. You can
That's
write.
Fine.
Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Well, can I just say, if you're still listening, thank you for listening. After our whole conversation before about like what we want from AI, please tell us, like, am I crazy? Is that something that you would also want as a viewer, as a listener, like that just constant memory? Please let me know. Leave us a 5-star rating review on Apple Podcasts. Let me know there, or send us an email or tweet at us. Just let me know if I'm crazy or not, because that's just something I want.
I mean, that's like people who are like, you know what would be really cool? We should have chickens. And then you're like, oh my God, chickens are disgusting, and they poop a lot, and they take a lot of work, and did I really want chickens?
I do want chicken, as far as like
no. Do you want to raise them?
No, my kids keep asking. I say no. We're
right.
Not doing chicken.
See, and I don't want a wearable pin that's recording everything that's happening around me.
I don't either, but I also want it to remember everything. Anyway, let us know. Please let us know. You can settle this argument, listeners and viewers.
I think we actually agree, though.
we do agree. I just maybe I would be more likely to give up some things than not. And I wouldn't wear it when I'm going out on a date, or I wouldn't wear it like when I'm, you know what I mean? Like if we're hanging out together as a family, but like here in the office, like I probably, because everything that I'm seeing on the computer screen. Anyway, we don't have to get back into it. Let us know. Please reach out.
All right. So Samsung's getting MagSafe.
Samsung's getting MagSafe. That's cool. Actual news is Neil Mohan has this like things YouTube is doing for 2026. The big ideas for 2026. He had a blog post. He had a video with Renee Ritchie. Talked about a number of things, one being that creators will be able to create likenesses of themselves using AI for YouTube Shorts. And in the same announcement, he talked about how YouTube is going to work to lessen AI slop.
So it's just a matter of how you define the word slop.
And apparently they have a definition, because they are separating it from slop, which I understand, I guess, like...
Nope, it's just semantics at this point. They're just saying this is good because we're allowing creators to make more content so that they can feed the algorithm more content so we can get people to watch longer, as opposed to fake accounts making just random AI generated stuff. It's all slop, Steven.
Can I say, it feels like YouTube, I'm now getting what you got, which is YouTube is very aggressively pushing shorts.
All the time.
Every time I open the app, whenever I do a search, it's like
the website. I opened the website and it's
Yeah.
just stuff. And it's algorithm has gotten so aggressive because it's one of those things where you hover too long over a video, you didn't even click on it, it counted as being watched, and now it shows you 7 more things about that. I'm like, it's a mouse cursor, I didn't even know it was there. Don't stop showing me these random things that I don't need to see.
And I don't know if you've experienced this, but the one place that I would go is like for solace is the subscriptions tab, where it's just the people that you subscribe to. The problem is I'm not seeing it right now, but sometimes when I'm visiting it on the web, it shows like popular, and there's now like a row of videos that from channels that I don't subscribe to, but are like related to the topics that I'm interested in. And I'm like, I don't like that. Like my subscriptions tab is just supposed to be channels that I subscribe to. And now they're like sneaking in some videos from other channels as like a thing. And also there is a shorts row, which I guess those are from channels that I follow, but also like, I don't know. Do you have that like popular or trending?
So I only subscribe to 3 channels.
Okay, one of them better. No, go ahead.
One of them is Stephen Robles.
Thank you.
One of them is Primary Technology, and one of them is our church. Now, Primary Technology only posts something on there, a long form, once a week. Right? So I almost never see anything from that channel, except for on Thursdays. But that's it.
Right.
So in my mind, subscribing to stuff is like pointless. It doesn't do anything. I could just click on the thing so that it's basically a bookmark for a channel in my mind. It's just an easy way to get back. What did Steven post this week? I can just go click on it. But like it is, I don't think it's informing the algorithm in any meaningful way, because when I look at my home thing,
so different.
Nothing from here is from that. Right?
And that's the thing. Like, and honestly, this is the part that it like, you know what? I'm just going to show my tabs here. So if you're on YouTube or if you're listening, if you want to see my YouTube, what it looks like. So like my home tab, and this is my main YouTube account that I do, like shorts, obviously very prominent on there. Now, I don't subscribe to the Waveform Clips channel, but I'm seeing that. I do subscribe to Snazzy Labs and Cleo Abram. These are channels that I don't subscribe to, but
you also 2 rows of shorts.
I have 2 rows of shorts right here.
That's
on the home
insane.
tab. But to the algorithm's credit, maybe, like there are more things that I am likely to click on this home tab than if I go to my subscriptions tab, because like Riverside, I mean, I've still subscribed to their channel, but they have a bunch of like webinar recordings. You're like, I'm not going to watch those. Like, I'm not going to watch this vacuum video. And like, so to YouTube's credit, the home tab is better suited. And honestly, this shorts tab, like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence singing in something, I would want to see that. But I already watched this whole episode of Amy Poehler's episode, so I don't need to see that short. I want shorts to be relegated to, like, I don't want to see them when I'm looking at long form videos. You know what I mean? And I know that YouTube said in this announcement that their shorts get over like 200 billion views, I don't know, every month or
but they count
week. It's weird. I know it's weird.
But okay, so I have one more thing to say about the announcement. But then
200 billion every day, by the way, daily views.
It's stupid. But I want to say one more thing about the algorithm. YouTube, you got to turn the sensitivity dial down just a little bit in the algorithm, because I will search YouTube for how do I fix a thing, or how do I assemble a thing, or what do I do about this, and I find a video. And it answers the question for me, and I never need to see a video about that again in my entire life. And yet my homepage will be 7 more videos. YouTube, I already fixed the dishwasher. I never want to see a dishwasher video again unless I search for it.
See, and I'll tell you why. I know you're not on TikTok, but TikTok is even more aggressive like that, where like last night I was just scrolling through some videos, and I saw a fun-looking monkey being fed at the zoo. It's just a funny looking monkey. And so I watched not a few seconds. I probably watched like 20, 30 seconds of this video. And I kid you not, every third scroll for the rest of my session last night were the exact same videos from the exact same account showing the monkey. And what TikTok is trying to do is like, are you going to watch every video of this monkey? Are you going to watch these videos for a long time? Because if you are, we're going to inject this in the algorithm. And I feel like YouTube is trying to pull on that strategy that TikTok uses, which is like, if you search for this thing or if you look for it, we're going to make sure you either really want to see this or you don't want to see it, and we're going to tweak the algorithm accordingly. And I think it's just being really aggressive at that, and that's not good.
Well, there's a variable in the algorithm which is, oh, Steven seems interested in this. But what it needs to be able to discern is, why is Steven interested in this? If it's repair dishwasher, it's like a temporary interest. I'm not becoming a dishwasher repair person. I don't need all of the videos about it. I just needed to fix my dishwasher, which I did. I can move on with my life. Stop showing me those. Go back to the regularly scheduled programming, please.
And I will say, if you ever log into YouTube when you're not signed into an account, it's very peaceful. There's nothing there.
Well, and you can turn off your history, but you open it and your homepage will be blank. And it feels kind of
honestly,
weird.
like, I don't want a blank homepage. I don't know.
Yeah.
And keep tweaking it. Keep tweaking that algorithm.
I did want to just say about this announcement. I think YouTube is just playing fast and loose with the words. I don't want creators making videos with their likeness. That's a hard no. I know creators are going to do this. They shouldn't. That is not what people want from YouTube creators. And it is, let's just be clear on the record, it is slop. I don't care that it's like not just nonsense created from fake accounts doing what. No. You cannot split that difference. You are not committed to fight AI slop and at the same time making it easier for people to make completely AI generated videos.
And also, my argument for the creator economy in the last year has been I believe the reaction to increasing AI slop will be people turning to actual human beings as creators. And I think if, for instance, like, I'm not going to make shorts with AI generated me. I'm not going to do that. And so if you ever see an AI generated version of me, I didn't do it. I'm not going to do that. But I think if you start being like, well, every third short is going to be AI generated with my likeness, I think that's going to start eroding the trust and connection that your audience and people have with you as a creator. Because if it's going to be a roll of the dice, like if I click on this video from this creator that I really like, and a third of the time it's an AI generated video, that's not going to feel good to me as a viewer of that creator who likes that creator. I would rather get 2/3 less content or 1/3 less content and only see videos of them actually on camera. I think that is the trust exchange that happens, and why the creator economy has a future is that connection to human beings. And so, yeah, I won't be doing it.
I'm just telling you, this is what would be the end of YouTube.
Well, we'll see, because Netflix is trying it too. Because everyone thinks vertical videos is the way to go. And
well, that's different. I'm talking about the AI slop thing. Okay.
But I think the problem is,
this is just Spotify. What Netflix is doing is just Spotify.
Netflix can do a Spotify's with more vertical videos. I do think back to YouTube, YouTube has said it's going to cut down on AI slop, which again, I feel like they are distinguishing AI slop from like AI legit videos, I guess, or not.
When
slop,
they say AI slop, they mean Sora, right?
They
Like that's what they're
Sora.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they mean Sora or whatever, or VO videos or whatever. But the problem is, I think all of these vertical platforms, and if and when they add it, which is what this article is saying, it's going to have AI slop. People just upload it, and there's still not great systems for cutting it down. Like TikTok has a slider where you could say like, show me less AI videos, but I don't know how good it is at actually recognizing it. And I still see a bunch of AI slop on TikTok. So,
well, also though, Netflix though, you can't just post video.
Well, and that's the other curious thing is like, is Netflix just going to take clips from TVs and movies and now their video podcasts and show those, or will they eventually open up to user generated? Probably not user generated.
No, Netflix is never going to open it up.
You think
to
never?
Generated? No, I don't. No, that isn't Netflix. I think this is like
fair.
Spotify. This is like artists can upload a music video as the sizzle reel thing for their song when you go through, and it just plays as a vertical, and you can literally just scroll through that stuff. You're going to just be able to do that on the phone on Netflix to find something to watch.
Yeah.
Netflix's thing is, we want you to find something to watch. We see this as another way to do that. They don't want users, because they don't make money off of that.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. And also, Netflix is still in this bidding war to try and acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. They've now upped their terms. They're going to do an all cash deal rather than like financing some of this, and it's upping their previous thing. So Paramount's still trying to get a hold of this, but I don't know. I mean, it's going to be Netflix eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. If this goes through, it's going to be Netflix. It's not going to be Paramount. The difference now is that they were offering cash in stock, and now they're just offering cash, which technically is a better deal for people because you are just getting whatever the value of your share is at that moment instead of getting some amount of money and then some amount of stock in Netflix, because maybe you don't want stock in Netflix. And also, since Netflix has been pushing this deal, their stock's going down. So if you are someone who owns Warner Brothers Discovery stock, you might not want Netflix stock because you may not believe that it will necessarily go up. You might just be like, I'll just take the cash. So that makes it cash is, it's like if you're buying a mortgage. It's like if somebody walks up with a bag of cash or buying a house with a bag of cash, that's a more valuable offer than I have to go get a mortgage.
Right. Because then you got to get all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we'll see, that's coming out. And then Threads has overtaked X on mobile as far as active user base. X still has more users on the web, which I find interesting, but Threads is still growing. It's still growing pretty fast, and I think related, Threads is going to roll out ads everywhere. So you're going to start seeing more ads on Threads. We knew this was coming, but it's actually here. I've not seen any ads on Threads yet. Have you?
I mean, technically every third post on Threads is just an ad for somebody talking about something, but it's not. They don't pay for it.
Paid things. But
do you use Threads on the web? Because I use it there all the time. I bet you it's 60% web, 40% mobile.
I have a Threads web page that I added to the dock, so it acts like an app on my Mac. So technically, yes, I guess you could say I use it a lot on the web.
Great. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's not great on the web, like just I think functionality wise, and like even like I post a lot, and posting through the web interface is not as good. And you also like don't have access to your DMs on the web,
which is weird.
I don't get a lot of DMs on Threads, and I also like the few times I check it, I'm like, oh, I have a dozen requests from a month ago, because I just don't check it on the web. So anyway, that's that. And then the final big news, and this I'm looking forward to hear John Syracuse's, his manifesto on this. But Sony is going to be basically spinning off its TV hardware business to TCL, and so this is going to be a couple of years in the making. But a couple of years from now, you might see Sony Bravia branded TVs, but TCL is taking over the business, and Sony's not going to be doing it anymore. And this I've found interesting because, again, listening to Syracuse, but also just kind of from my own mind from like back in my Circuit City days or whatever, like Sony always made like the best TVs. Like if you wanted the highest quality TV, and I don't know if that's still true today. I saw John Syracuse post on Mastodon, like the last 3 years, the top of the line Sony TV won like best TV available from like multiple websites. And so maybe it is still true, but yeah, they're spinning it off and it'll just be TCL doing it. Yeah.
I mean, I think this doesn't matter at all because even the Sony TV, wasn't it a Samsung panel?
Sure.
Even the really good one. So basically at this point, you're just buying TVs based on
the panel.
But I mean, like they're all running the same. It's like most mirrorless cameras are running a Sony sensor in them, right? Like it's like, I don't know, like Nikon cameras have been using Sony sensors since before Sony was making cameras, right? Like, so you're just what you're buying is the software, and you shouldn't be using a TV based on the software anyway. Just buy an LG. Seriously, OLED, and it'll be just fine. You'll be fine, and then turn off the Wi-Fi. Don't connect it to the internet.
That's it. Turn off the Wi-Fi. That's the deal. All right, let's do some personal tech. Number 1.
Oh boy,
I finally figured out Claude Code. I finally figured out
You've
what it is.
You've been chasing people over the internet for weeks on this.
Listen, here's the thing. People know I'm into shortcuts, and I kept seeing people saying, I built an MCP that uses Claude Code and it can build shortcuts out of whole cloth. And I'm like, how?
You're like,
how
what
are
you
people
saying?
Doing this? How are you doing it? And like everyone's like, oh, well, it's pretty, it's pretty security invasive. And so we don't want to share it publicly. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so now listen, I don't know anything about anything. I don't know about code. I don't know code.
I mean, you do have an app in the App Store.
I have an app in the App Store that I vibe coded with ChatGPT. That's out there. I do have some HTML and CSS knowledge, which I don't use. I can make a table. I can make a mean HTML table and center that thing with some padding.
I can edit a Squarespace site. That's what he's saying.
I can edit a Squarespace site. I know how to change the header 1 font and color across the site using CSS. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And so basically, like, and to Claude's credit, you can literally just go to the Claude app and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. What is Claude Code and how do I do it? Basically what I found is, this is why I started paying for Claude again. I'm paying the $20 for Claude Pro. And Claude basically walked me through, all right, you install Claude. And here's like, whenever people give instructions, and this is one of the reasons why I feel like maybe I'm good at YouTube, is because a lot of times, I know it sounds random. A lot of times when people give instructions on how to do a thing, there's like a critical step that they forget. And it's really hard. They
don't know what everyone else doesn't know.
That's exactly it.
They've forgotten that everyone else has no idea what you're talking about.
That. And so there's usually like a critical step or two that once people are like really deep in the weeds on a topic, it's hard to extrapolate, oh, I need to talk about X, Y, and Z because those steps are required for ABC. So anyway, when I was a guest on MacBreak Weekly earlier this week, I joined it, and before we started broadcasting, Leo was like in terminal showing me a Claude something or other, and I was like, what is happening? And in the menu bar, I tried to look at what app it was, and in the menu bar it said Kitty. Do you know is there a Kitty terminal app or something?
Isn't Kitty like the name that Anne Frank used to write her diary to? Like literally, I think she wrote, Dear Kitty. That's what she wrote.
Sure. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. So apparently it's I'm looking at it now. Apparently it is a terminal app that you can download, like an open source app. It's terminal. It's just terminal on the Mac, which again, I don't do a lot in terminal, but I know it's a place where you can run different scripts and it does things. So anyway, I was looking at Leo's computer and it said Kitty in the top left. So that's like step one. Like, hey, Leo, what's Kitty? He's like, oh, it's just a terminal, whatever. I'm just doing this terminal. It's like, oh, okay. So wait a minute. Claude Code, you do in terminal. Is that what I'm getting? And it's like, yeah, that's what you do. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I know what terminal is. And so I basically went to Claude app, and I was like, hey, how do I install Claude Code? And it gave me the instructions. I said, and I literally, like, it'll give me a bunch of instructions, like, here's steps 1 through 7. It'd be like, hey, Claude, I'm a dummy. Tell me the first thing I should do. And this is what, just for you all listening and watching, like, you can do this with these AI apps, and they're actually like, we'll dumb it down and walk you through it. That's what it did for me. And I was like, copy and paste this into terminal. I was like, okay, now I understand there is some security things here where if you type certain things in the terminal, it has like, you know, it can do things to your computer. But I was like, this is literally Claude telling me, the Claude app. So I'm going to trust it and just see what happens. Also, I did something.
Listeners, get an SSD.
Yeah.
Back up your Mac first.
That's right.
Then do this.
And I do this on my MacBook Air that I don't really care about and I can wipe tomorrow, not my Mac Studio where I do my work. You know, like that's separation.
This is the thing though that you should have told people before they started that you didn't tell people. This is the assumption.
Step 0 before ABC.
Just have a good backup of your Mac and then go ahead and play with terminal.
Yeah, or if you have a secondary one or whatever. But it walked me through installing Claude Code through terminal, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then I basically said to Claude, look, here's this Threads post. Here's Vitici talking about his shortcuts MCP. What are they doing? I literally just asked Claude, do you know what they're doing? And Claude was like, well, you can do this method, but that can't actually build shortcuts. Or you can do this other method, and that actually can build shortcuts. And I was like, I want to do that. Tell me how to do that.
Why would I do the one that can't? Okay, thank you.
And it basically told, and to be fair, it warned me. It's like, well, it might not build great shortcuts, or it might not have all like the good information to like build them properly. And it's like, I don't care. I just want to be able to do this. And so it literally walked me through step by step. I installed Claude Code via terminal. I kept asking Claude, I don't understand what you're saying. Just give me the script to copy and paste. I'll copy and paste it in a terminal. And I basically got to the point where I was able to create a shortcut that makes shortcuts. And what it does is the shortcut, in shortcut, there's an action that just runs a script. And so it's just running a script that Claude gave me, and it asks for input, and I say, make me a shortcut that tells me the weather, whatever. And guess what? Claude can do it, and Claude can make it a shortcuts file that I can literally double click, and it opens in the shortcuts app on my Mac, and I can install it and run it like a shortcut. So if you want to see like my full, just crazy conversation with Claude, I literally sent it. This is just as shortcuts members. I didn't want to post it publicly because you're going to see messages from me like, what are you talking about? You know, it's going to be, you're going to see my raw conversation with Claude. But it's in my shortcuts community. I I showed it during my live stream yesterday, so it's in the stream replays of my community. Shortcut.bot is the website. But anyway, I figured out how to do it, and I also realized it is actually not that great at running it. And all the examples that I saw, like on social media and even Viticci, like it's very simple shortcuts it's asking to build, because as soon as you ask for anything complex, like I asked for an if statement, like check the weather. If the temperature is over 70 degrees, send me a notification that says it's hot. If it's less than 70 degrees, send me a notification that says it's cold. And it actually builds the right actions, but it didn't connect anything. So none of the variables are actually connected, and you can't just run it. I would actually have to go and like click, like this variable should pull from this. The if statement needs to pull from that. So it couldn't like still build it. Now, there's a lot of things about shortcuts where like Claude needs to know about every single action and what the actions can do. And in order to do that, you basically have to have every action as a plist file and give it to Claude and be like, here's all the actions that are possible, only build from this. Because if it doesn't know that, it will just create like Python script.
It's just hallucinating shortcut options.
It will hallucinate. And so like one of the shortcuts I opened, it was like unknown action. And it's because Claude thought it was a shortcuts action, and so it wrote the script for it, but it's actually not. And so shortcuts is like, this is not an action that exists. So it's still not great at that. I feel safe. I have a job for a few years more. It can't do that very well. But I finally figured it out. If you really want to know, it's in my community. But listen, just ask Claude to be super basic, and it will walk you through it. Back up your computer, like Jason said first. But I finally did it, and I could finally rest, like Thanos at the end of Infinity War.
I'm glad you did that. I'm going to stick to replacing "Hey Claude, tell me how to do this" with "Hey Steven, is there a shortcut for this?"
Please do. And that's the thing. Like, I imagine like developers are talking about how Claude is really good, especially if you know how to develop. It can get you most of the way there, and then you as a developer, you need to finish the process because it's still not good at like that last mile or doing like the final details. And so maybe this will be good for someone like me who can tell it to build a shortcut and basically saves me some time by placing all the actions, but you're still going to have shortcuts knowledge to like finish the process and get it to do that advanced thing that you want it to do. And also, I am thankful that most people just want to download a shortcut and not build it themselves, because as much as I show how to build shortcuts, everybody's like, just give me a link to download it. And so even for that, I think, and knowing how complicated it was to install Claude Code and get it to build this shortcut, I feel very safe being like, most people are not going to do this. And most people are not going to pay for Claude, because you have to pay for Claude Pro. And then I hit the limit again. And I was like, I'm not upgrading to Claude Max. I'm calling it a day.
It's not worth my children's college fund.
No. So anyway, that was my Claude Code experience. I just wanted to share that. And also Carrot Weather. You tweeted, Steven has finally tried something that I said was...
No, what I said was, I love it when Steven discovers something, because it wasn't just that you tried it. It's like, I can't believe that Claude or that Carrot Weather will do this thing. I'm like, literally, this is why I've told you that I've been using it. And you're like, so I love it when Steven independently discovers a thing that I have been telling him about for a long time.
The one feature, I just want to say, I don't know if you mentioned it specifically, but the one really cool feature is Carrot takes advantage of live activities.
Yes.
And so for precipitation, especially in Florida, I see the dynamic island rain in 3 minutes. And that's great.
Steven, right there. Starts in 13 minutes. Like snow, it's coming. Yes, we've talked about this.
Have we talked about the live activities specifically? I'm just saying.
I'm going to have to go back to the transcripts to make sure that the words live activities have come out of my mouth, but...
Anyway, I really like it. A bunch of people did reply to my post, and they're like, Carrot Weather is really nice, but it's expensive. The pro plan is $30 a year.
And you can share that with everyone in your family.
You can share with everyone in your family.
So amortize that out. You have a big family. I have a big family. It's basically nothing. It's free. They're actually paying me to use it.
And I actually like that I can dictate the weather color by the widget, or I can dictate the widget color in Carrot, because the Apple Weather widget, you can't choose a color. You can only... and the problem, and then when it's going to rain, you got a big old gray widget if you use the big widget like I do at the top. But with Carrot Weather, you could say, just always be blue. Yeah. Or you could say match the system.
And you have a lot of controls to that widget. There are a lot of things you can control.
And there's a lot of data that you can put in there. Like if you want to put the high and low for the day, if you want to put today's date in the widget, which that's actually what I ended up doing, because once your phone is unlocked, if you don't have the calendar app on your homepage, you don't really see the date. And so, put it, and the live activities.
I'm
the
just
live
telling you.
activities. It's great.
Also, this is carrot weather up right up here too. This
see,
I changed this to that. Yeah.
and then even the watch complication.
Yeah.
I had the watch complication. The watch complication is great. So anyway, it's all great. Well, carrot weather's great. I just want to say thank you for finally suggesting it after not mentioning it for the last 2 years.
I do love that last week your entire goal was what's wrong with you, Neanderthal? Use the Apple one, and now we've not even come full circle. We've gone 180 degrees to like Steven's like, I get it now.
I get it. I do. I get it now, and it's great. And carrot weather, he just celebrated 10 years, and he was on the talk show.
It was great.
Yeah, 10 years.
That's another reason is just if you should listeners, you should listen to that talk show episode with him because it's just very fun listening to the way he thinks about this.
It is fun. So anyway, carrot weather, it's great, and we're gonna go record an episode. I need Jason to tell me what AI to use, and I want to know which ones he actually.
Because we haven't talked about that yet at all today.
Well, because the existential crisis of like I want my history all in one place. I understand I can copy and paste conversations, whatever. But anyway, we're gonna talk about AI. I want to know what Jason uses what for what, and I'm gonna talk about what I've been changing my habits from. So if you want to hear the bonus episode, get an ad-free version of this show. Listen to our pre-show, where we snuck a lot of things in the pre-show today, too. You can go to join.primarytech.fm. The link is in the show notes. You can support the show there. You can support us directly in Apple Podcasts, and you get all those benefits. You can listen to the unedited feed, which is ad-free and with chapters if you support through Memberful at join.primarytech.fm. And you get the pre-show and bonus episode just in one long episode. A lot of people like doing that. So anyway, you can do that. Leave us a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcasts. Let me know. Would you like a permanent memory device where you can just ask it where you saw something? Let us know in your 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcasts. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube as well. All the links below. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.